What's up, Amazon sellers? Today I'm going to share with you how I exactly manage my cash flow and how I know this week that I can spend exactly £78,914. I'm going to cover all my bills, make sure I get paid, and my business has a safety buffer, which just means that I'm protected should anything go wrong. But if you want to know how to maximize the cash in your business so you can reinvest right up to the pound or the dollar, stay tuned. I'm going to share with you exactly what I do in my business live on screen. It's going to help you out. What's up, guys? If you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson. I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years, and recently we just broken the £1 million mark over the last 12 months. Now, quite simply, I am doing videos about selling on Amazon, talking about the UK and the USA and how I am doing it, documenting my journey and sharing everything that I'm learning. If you want to know more about these and be updated the moment I release new videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. It's just going to notify you the moment new videos come out. It's going to help you scale your Amazon business too, from everything that I'm learning across my companies. Hopefully you like this, give me a big thumbs up, and hey, what I will do is obviously reply to any comments you drop down below. So anything you want to ask, do let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to get back to you. But hey, enough about me, let's get started today. So first things first, what are we going to go through? Well, number one, I'm going to go through what is cash flow. Number two, I'm going to go through what are the benefits of a properly managed cash flow in your business. Number three, I'll go through what you should consider in managing your cash flow. And then finally, number four, I'm going to go through how to manage your cash flow in your Amazon business. And I will give you a live screen share of my exact cash flow for my business, so you can see that as well. So let's get into it now. So first things first, what is cash flow? Well, look, cash flow is the total amount of cash being transferred into and out of a business. Cash received represents inflows of, money coming in, but also money being spent represents outflows as well. Now, quite simply, cash flow refers to the movement of money entering and going out of a business, typically from operations, investing, financing, buying stock, selling on Amazon, getting the money back, repeating that process. Now, in an Amazon business, your cash inflows are the sales, while your outflows are generally the expenses, such as cash for purchasing for stock. Now, if you don't have a balance and manage your inflow and outflow of your revenue and spending, you might get a loss within your business, or even worse, bankruptcy. You've got to be careful about that, that's not exactly right. In an Amazon business, your cash inflow is the money coming in from Amazon, i.e. the sales that you are making from Amazon once they disburse your cash. Now, the expenses are going to be you spending things on like stock, but also like sourcing tools, reprices, maybe VAs, etc., etc. Now, if you don't manage your cash flow correctly, even if you're making a profit, you can still go bankrupt because you just don't have enough cash in your business to cover your costs, because you just haven't managed that money correctly. Now, this leads me nicely onto what are the benefits of managing your cash flow properly. So let me share with you 3 benefits for your Amazon business if you get your cash flow managed correctly. So first things first, number one, wise investing. Now, managing the flow of cash within your Amazon business will help you maximize the full potential of your capital. And let me specify this to you with, a quick example to explain what I mean. Okay, so first things first, number one, wise investing. Now, managing all of the cash within your business is going to help you maximize that cash to invest in stock that's going to allow you to turn it quicker. Now, the more cash we can invest into stock at any one point, the more stock we can buy, and obviously the more profit we can make. So one of the core requirements of correctly managed cash flow is to ensure that we maximize the investment at all times into stock, at all times, because cash in the bank doesn't make you money, but stock or selling on Amazon does. That's where your money really needs to be invested. Now, let me show this to you with a quick calculation. So I'll jump on the computer and just show you a spreadsheet I created before that kind of hopefully explains this idea. So here we are on a spreadsheet I created, and it's not the most beautiful one, but I'll kind of explain what it looks like. So what we've done, we've got 2 examples here, both starting with £10,000 or $10,000, doesn't really matter. Now, in the poorly managed cash flow exception, what we're saying is we're going to say that only 70% of the cash is being invested every 2 months. And then when we reinvest, we're only going to reuse 70% of the cash. Now, if we turn to the other example, the well-managed, we're going to be saying that 95% of all the cash is now being invested. All I'm doing is exactly the same calculation, 30% ROI. It takes 2 months to buy and resell, but the only difference is how much of the available cash is going to be invested. Why? Because that's about managing cash flow. So if you manage your cash flow well, you're going to increase the percentage of cash you are able to invest all the time, which is ideally what we want to do. So in this case, you can see here 10,000, we only use 70%, so we're only actually investing 7,000. And then once we actually add on the profit of 30% ROI of the 7,000, we're going to make 2,100. Now add that back to our initial cash, which is 7,000 or 10,000, sorry, we're going to get this. So again, we use 70%, we get our new cash we invest, and we get the return. And we just keep that process for 1 year. Now, at the end of the year, what we're going to be looking at is this poorly managed cash flow is going to have an end total amount of cash of 31,384, which means we've made a net profit of 21,384 pounds. Now, if we do exactly the same calculation with 95%, again 10,000 using 95% of the cash, and obviously getting 30% ROI on that again, doing it all the way through again, we're now going to end with £45,021 or dollars, and the net profit is going to be £35,021. Just by improving the percentage of cash we are investing every single month by effectively managing the cash flow, we can increase our net profits by 164%, which is absolutely amazing. With no extra cash in our business, but just by maximizing our cash flow, we can actually increase the profits in the business. This is why it's so important. Now, the second reason why I think managing cash flow is super important is it saves you from, should we say, your future expenses. Now, think of this as one of the things that Amazon sellers maybe don't foresee or don't understand, that some Amazon sellers say that as long as they can pay their bills in their Amazon business, they think that their business will keep going. But what they don't know is that they might be killing their business little by little. And what do I mean by this? In cash flow, your cash is either in the Amazon business, and it has two categories. First is the inflow, the money that is entering into your business, and let's say the sales coming from Amazon sales and the disbursements. The second is your outflow in the money that is going out of your Amazon business. And of course, these are expenses like cash for your purchases, your bills, your other costs, etc. Now, one of the rules of managing your cash flow is trying to make sure that pretty much at all times your inflow is greater than your outflow. And the reason for this is that you should have your bills and expenses are not too high than what you are coming in. And if this happens, and you don't have enough money to cover those costs, what you're going to see is that your business may go bankrupt. Even if you are profitable, if the money coming in is less than the money going out, even if there's profit in the business, you can still go bankrupt. So managing your cash flow in your Amazon business by forecasting your expenses and making sure you have adequate money in your business to cover those expenses when it's required can help prepare your business through the cash flow and make sure that you don't go bankrupt, which is something which does happen even in profitable businesses. So just be very mindful of that. Now, the third reason is providing a safety buffer. One of the best things I get from managing my cash flow is having, should we say, a certain amount of money in my bank, which I can use in the case of emergency. And this is very important because I can't tell what's happening next in my business. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but by having that safety buffer in my cash, knowing it's there, I can make sure that we can still operate as a business even when the unexpected happens. By having that safety buffer, which you can change, then it allows you to have that peace of mind and obviously sleep well at night. Quick question for you guys. How do you manage your cash flow at the moment? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to understand. Let me know in the comments down below. Now, before I move on to show you how I manage my cash flow, let me first show you what the factors are you need to consider when managing cash flow. So, now, before you start to properly manage your cash flow in your Amazon business, it's important to know when your inflows and outflows move, or should we say by time, and by considering this, it's going to help you understand and budget your cash and spend accordingly on time to ensure you're paying the bills without, as we said before, going bankrupt. Now, first things first, what should you understand within an Amazon business? Well, number one is the Amazon disbursement fund system. So this is how long it takes Amazon to disperse your sales into your payment account. Now, normally, if you've got an account within any of the last 5 years and all new accounts going forward, Amazon will disperse every 14 days or 2 weeks by default. Taking into consideration this is super important because this is how long it takes the cash to get from once it's sold into your bank account, i.e. the inflow. Now, this is being dispersed every 14 days. So you can plan your cash flow for your payments according to this process to avoid running out of cash, i.e. your cash inflows. Now, the second one is credit cards. Now, if you are using a credit card or credit cards to purchase stock, this is also a big consideration that you want to consider when managing your cash flow. Now, as you can see, credit cards can give you an additional cash for your business, which is great, but with this, we can say that it's going to give you a cash inflow temporarily. You need to manage the outflow in regards to paying the debt and the liability on that as well. Now, you should always make sure that you know when you need to be paying your credit cards and knowing those bills, and on the cash flow sheet, we show you how to do that. Now, by knowing this, it's going to prepare you to have the right amount of funds available to pay your credit card bills without running out of cash, which we say in your business, and obviously getting flooded by letters from debt collection agencies saying, why haven't you paid your credit card? Okay, so quick thing before I jump into actually how we use a cash flow sheet, I'm going to give you a live example of how I use mine in my business. One thing I want to say for you is managing cash flow is amazing, and as I showed you before in the demonstration, manage it right and you can get a massive increase in your actual profits just by utilizing more of that available cash. Now, hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to fully understand how I manage cash flow and it's going to help you in your business. What does that mean? It now means you're going to have more cash to spend on deals, on stock within your Amazon business. Now, if you're anything like me, finding deals, sourcing deals, it's just hard work and it takes a long time, and it's time that I just don't have. So what should you do? You should be looking for a lead service, someone who can provide you deals 7 days a week for the marketplaces that you're looking at. And what would I say? If you are interested, have a look at FastTrackFBA Leads. This is a service I created whereby I have a team of VAs in the UK and the USA. They are sourcing for leads 7 days a week. And do you know what we do? We find every single deal, and every single deal we put onto our website. Not a select number of deals, every single deal that we find, you get to see. We remove the supplier URL and the Amazon ASIN, but we show you everything else. Keeper charts, buy, sell, buy price, sell price, 90-day price, calculations. You can even adjust your own prep fees and review all the deals. And what can you do when you like a deal? You can unlock it. You can then go to the supplier, buy the product, and resell it on Amazon to make money. If you are interested, check out FastTrackFBA Leads down below. It's completely game changing. No one else does anything like this. And I think it's going to really change your game now that you've got some great cash flow. Check it out. I think you'll love it. Now, this leads me nicely onto my fourth chapter, how to manage cash flow in your Amazon business. Now look, in my Amazon business, I use this cash flow management process, which I made and developed over the 4 years of working through my Amazon journey. And quite recently, we've just done £1 million in the last 12 months. And this cash flow sheet has been fundamental in maximizing the amount of cash I can spend every single week. Now, this cash flow sheet helps guide me specifically through a number of things. Number one, it helps me manage my credit card expenses and my limits to maximize that credit facility to reinvest in stock. Number two, it plans out my cash flow for the next 14 days, which is super important because it just tells me what's coming up and what's going on. Number three, it guides me through my expenses, such as giving me limits as well on how much I can spend to make sure that I can cover all my expenses so that I don't go bankrupt. So that means I can spend as much money as I can on stock, which means I'm going to utilize more of my cash to make more profits. Now, to show you this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a walkthrough of my cash flow sheet and how I use this in my Amazon business. So let's jump on the computer now. I'm going to show you the exact cash flow sheet that I use, and you can get a really good feel for how it works and how it should work in yourself as well. So let's jump on it now. Okay, so here we are onto the sheet itself now. Now, there's a lot of kind of information, and I'd really recommend reading through it if you've obviously got the sheet. And what you can do is you can get a copy of the sheet, and I will put a link down below in the description. So if you want to get a copy of the sheet, it does have a small fee to it. because it's taken a lot of time to develop and a lot of expertise, but trust me, the value it brings, we've already seen you can get 164% increase if you just manage your cash flow correctly. So have a look down below, you can get a copy of it. Now, quite simply, what we do is just a setup really. What we do is, we talked about it earlier. So what we say is that Amazon pays out every 14 days. Now in my business, the way I manage it is I manually go in every Monday and I do a manual disbursement. So if I didn't do that, it would happen every 14 days. I just make a habit once a week. I go in on a Monday, click disperse, and then obviously the funds come out. Now, what do I say is when I click disperse, I'm going to get the money that I'm due now, but also as well, there's going to be a proportion of money that I can't get yet because it's part of that 14-day disbursement limit. Now, what I do is I put a buffer in that and I reduce it down by a certain amount just to try and be on the safe side. So what I'm trying to say here is Amazon reduction in next week's payout. So let's say, for example, right now, I was going to be paid out $1,000 or £1,000. Well, I'd probably find that 500 of it is right now, and then 500 will be left. So in the sheet, we record however much is left at each disbursement, and we assume that that will be paid next week. And what we do is we reduce that down by whatever this percentage is. So in our example, if $500 or pounds had left after I click disperse, then I will reduce that down by 25%, which basically just makes sure that I'm not overestimating my inflows into my business for the next week. So leave that as it is, 25% is what we use, that's going to be fine. So let's kind of jump through. So first things first, and it does explain it on the sheet. So let's go down through to the red section. Now this red section is right here. Now this is about step one, where is the money right now? And what we're trying to do is create a snapshot in time of where all your cash is available right now. So this is pretty much live with my business. You can kind of see where money is. So what are we looking at? Well, I've got a Santander bank account. We have about £42,780 in cash in that. So, and this is available cash. So in that bank account, Santander, we have what's known as an overdraft. So while I think about 12,000 overdraft. So the idea is that 42,000 includes that overdraft. So I'm trying to collect all the available cash I have. So we've got there, I might have money in TransferWise, I might have money in PayPal, and I can put that in. Now, what I've done is once I put my bank accounts in and the available cash, I'll move on to my credit cards. So my credit cards, I'm always constantly paying off sometimes, and I'm using for purchases. So what I'm saying is, what is number one, the limit? You can see the limits I've got here, but then also as well, what's my current debt obligation on them? So what's the current liability? So you can see here on the Santander, 1% cashback, we've got £7.73 debt, and on Capital on Tap, we've got about £1,900. So not too much there. Now, also as well, we have charge cards, and they're treated slightly differently. Charge cards have to be paid off within a certain period of time, and generally we'll try and pay them. We don't, because they don't have a limit, but we just record the debt against it. So here, Amex, you can see it's got 27,000 on that Amex. And then if we have any supplier accounts, pretty much like credit facilities, but we'll put that down here. So what the current debt is that we need to manage. And then what we do is we also, when we click disperse on Amazon, I'm going to disperse money. So my total balance in Amazon before I click disperse is £76,908. So fantastic. But when I click disperse, it doesn't obviously pay all that money. Remember, I'm doing it once a week. What does it say? Well, it says right now I can only get £14,798. So the difference is going to be ideally what I'm getting next week. That's just how we calculate it. So this is a snapshot in time, all the money, and all I'm doing is putting all those details in there just to make it super clear about where all my money is, all my available cash. That's about talking about the cash available to invest today, and also inflows with Amazon. Now let's move down to the costs so we can understand that. So what we're doing here is managing our future costs in this orange section. So we've got expenditures this week and expenditures next week, and it automatically updates. And if it's anything in yellow is where you put in, anything not in yellow, don't touch. So quite simply, what I've done before I jump into the expenditures this week and next week, what I want to do is just jump over to this table over here. Now this is like a reminders tab. I really like this, it's super simple. So we put in there like the name of the cost, the amount, and the day of the month it generally comes in. Why? Because the bills just always fall on pretty much the same day of the month, roughly. So we have like a warehouse fee, we have like an Amex charge fee, we have a VAT repayment fee, we've got payroll staff, we've got individual bonus mid-month, we've got team bonus end of month, we've got payroll end of month because we pay twice, mid-month and end of month, you can tell. We've got my payroll, obviously you can see I get paid a lot of money. We've also got a bounce back loan, that's on there. We've got capital on tap and Santander credit card that if need to be paid. But they just help us outline what our expenses are throughout the whole month, just a good reminder, but also as well, how much they're going to be, and we can change that manually, but also the day of the month, like what's coming up. Every Monday we'll do this process. We can just look at the reminders of the big monthly costs and obviously put them in there. So very, very simple. Now you might say we don't have things like sourcing tools, etc., etc. They're not really big monthly costs. They're just tiny costs that we don't really need to factor in because they're just going to be covered by the safety buffer. But what we're looking at are the big ones that are actually big costs we need to account for. So don't worry about the little costs unless for us, because we've got so much money moving around, the little £30 are just not worth tracking because that'll be caught up in the safety buffer. Now, once we know that, what we're looking at is expenditures this week. So the little costs, so we've got a safety buffer right here, just £1,000, not much. We've got little costs and we put that in every week. Remember I talked about like, what do you call it? Like sourcing tools, repricing tools. We just put in £423. So every week we just expect to be on average paying about nearly £500 coming out. Also as well, you can see right now we've got a bounce back loan about to come out for £939. We've also got an Amex charge of 27 for next week. So you can kind of tell that today is the 18th and like next week we're gonna have to pay out on the Amex charge card. So we just put that in there to say, once we've looked at the big reminders, we can put it in. Now what the system or what the sheet's going to do is just going to add up those costs. It's going to give you information here. So total cash available up above, total credit available up above, cash incoming from Amazon, fantastic, and total available spend this week, 96,000. So we know what's coming in. We've now done all our costs, which is amazing. And also down here, we have a dynamically updated, automatically updated, and you can see here our highlights when any of the costs are going to pop in based on this here. So you can be like, oh, this week we've got 939, what's that? Well, that's the bounce back loan. Cool, I'll put that in this box here. This just updates automatically the cash flow planner based off what your reminder costs are and the day of the month is coming in to help support you there. Now, if we scroll down, what we are looking at is finally the final part of the equation before we get to the actual result is the calculation of maximum safe spends. So what we got here is total income, so total credit card debt and total credit availability. And then we do the forecast this week and a forecast next week. And we talk about our estimated funds available, how much income we've got coming in, our expenditure, and it talks about maximum spend, calculated max spend for the week, spend before Amazon disbursement in the bank. And what we want to do is it kind of just explains here, make this as large as possible. So we're going to put 90,000 in there, but also if this is red, you do not have enough money. So like right now we're saying maximum spend is 93.77. So if I'm going to put it in here, let's say for example, I change that to 93, still got money here. What I can do is if I put this up to like 100, for example, put it up to 100. What we're going to see is it says, warning, your spend is too high. And why? Because it says the estimated funds next week, at the beginning of next week, are going to be negative. And what does that mean? It means our expenses next week are going to be higher than the money we've got in the bank plus the inflow. And as a result, we could go bankrupt. So tweak this figure down here. Just make sure we get that right so that it's all nice and clear. And as a result, we can understand that actually that amount there is going to be perfect. Now, before we say that that is the amount of spend, what we want to do is just scroll down. And what we're going to do is actually look at step number 4, the green section, action to take. And what does it do? It gives you very clear information on what to happen. So it says maximum spend for the week, £90,000 for us. And if you're in the US, also do $90,000. But then what it does say is do not spend any of this before Thursday. Now, why do we say that? Well, quite simply because when you cash out on a Monday, it takes 3 days for the money to come into your account. So you have to wait a little while before that money comes in. So what we're saying is do not spend more than 78,000 before Wednesday or before Thursday, but after Thursday you can spend up to 90,000. What does that mean? It just means we're managing, number one, our expenses, but also as well, we're managing the inflow of cash, and to make sure that we're managing the outflow of cash to make sure we can maximize it, but also even taking into consideration how long it takes for money to disperse and even arrive in our accounts. So this is a really super simple results tab or results page, whereby my team will very simply just take a screenshot of this last page. They will share that with my purchasing manager, who knows exactly how much money he can spend, but also that we also know what costs are going to be coming out this week into our business. And if I need to go away and pay them manually, I can do that as well by just looking at this green box. But it's super simple. Follow the process, just work through, change the final amount to make sure it's high as possible in the blue section without anything going red, and as a result, that's going to give you a clear understanding of how much you can spend. Right, one thing I do need to put in just as a disclaimer for you guys is that I am not a qualified accounting professional, and if you do have questions about your cash flow, you should get this checked by your accountant or CPA. That is something, this is just for how I use my system, and I think it will be helpful for you, but again, do get it checked by a qualified professional. I cannot guarantee that obviously it won't have financial impacts. You should always obviously understand how this works for you, and this is the process that I use in my business, which really works, which I'm sharing with you because I think it will help you as well. But remember, I'm not a qualified professional. Do seek professional advice about your finances, obviously if you are struggling or you want to make sure you're doing this 100% correctly. Now, what I will say is always remember that this cash flow guide is just a guide for me. I have an admin VA check and review this and report this exact process to me and my purchasing manager every single week. Now, what I will say is by using the cash flow management sheet guide, it has increased the amount of spend that I've been able to do on percentage cash every single week while still paying my bills and managing my credit cards and my expenses. As a result, it's allowed me to achieve the £1 million goal much quicker because we're just utilizing more of my cash. Now, what I will say again, I'll drop a link down below to this cash flow management sheet guide for you to check out, and you can obviously get a copy of that. There is a small fee, but for the value it brings, it's just not even worth it. So do check it out. I think it's going to change the game in how you manage it. Now, what I will say is managing your cash flow is a vital role to upgrading your Amazon business. But do you know that you can earn up to £1,000 and even more than £1,000 more from cashback? And that's what we're doing right now. And what I'll do is I'll leave a video guide around here called my Ultimate Cashback Guide. It's just going to help you get more cash from the purchases you're making, which, hey, you can put it into your cash flow sheet, turn it around and make more profits. So check out that video. But what I will say is if you've liked this video, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below. But for me, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.